Last Epoch is gonna destroy and bury Diablo 4 and Path of Exile. It is not even close at this point.
The Falconer is the final mastery coming to Last Epoch, making its way to Terra on February 21st for the launch of the game. This subclass focuses on your feathery friend, who's the main driving force behind your skills as a rogue. If you enjoy raining death from above, besting your enemies with a sword, bow, or talon, and swiftly maneuvering the battlefield, the Falconer brings a completely new twist to minion gameplay.
Oh, and for everyone who does not know Last Epoch, every skill can be built just by talent points alone in roughly 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 maybe in some cases. Different unique gameplay styles that you want. So what you're seeing on the screen, even if it's the exact same skill, chances are in-game you're going to be able to make it work completely different and do completely different functions. It is gonna be wild.
In this video, we're going to show off the new skills and show off cool interactions from the Falconer. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the different archetypes that the Falconer offers, followed by showing off some builds that will have guides ready for launch. You might also notice some graphical improvements in this video, because there's a lot of upgrades for launch. Let's have a quick look at the skills you unlock exclusively as a Falconer. We'll be going over these and their respective skill trees, but if you want a deep dive and more to chew on, head on over to Maxroll, linked below to find out more. Keep in mind, these skills will unlock as you level. Your character automatically learns them after reaching certain thresholds in the Falconer passive tree.
Yes, every single point of level that you get feels so good because you get to put a point into that. Passively, you get to put points in skills. It is so good. Every level up feels just so impactful, and when you get these thresholds, absolutely perfect.
These skill showcases were provided by different Maxroll creators. You can find their Twitch channel on the screen during each skill showcase. I have not seen the Falconer at all, so this is also going to be my first look and my first impression to everything here.
Same.
First, we're going to look at Falconry, the skill that actually enables the Falcon. Bina, take it away.
Alright, so this is the Falcon from the Falconry skill. As you can see, as you walk by you, he just passively auto-attacks everything. He is a minion, and he is invulnerable to any attacks, so you don't have to worry about his survivability or anything like this. He also has access to an active skill, which you can see him dashing his way here through.
Oh, look at that. How many keywords did this have? Physical melee minion. That's a decent combination of stuff. Instant cast. Okay.
Which you can see him dashing his way here through the enemies and killing everything in its path. This is obviously on a cooldown, so you won't be able to spam it, but there are ways to reduce its cooldown and being able to spam it even more. So basically this is your Falcon friend, which is the main fantasy around the Falconer. To be able to use other skills, you also have to have the Falcon on your hotbar, as we'll see a little bit later, but this is the base ability of the Falcon.
So, Bina.
By the way, this feels a little bit like Lost Ark type of game design to a degree, but that's really good.
Are there any cool interactions that changes the skill a lot?
Yes, so your Falcon can actually use Acid Flask. So if you go to the left side of the tree here, you can actually see that there's...
Yeah, look at this. Okay. Let's check how many big ways of playing a Falconer there are. And by the way, the easiest thing that I have found out about this game is that you actually look at the images here. So this is a unique way of playing. This is probably some kind of unique way of playing. This is something unique. This is a unique tree, and this is a unique tree. I have found that in Last Epoch, this is pretty much 100% the case for all skills, where you have these kind of drawings, crafts, I don't know what to call them, but these things in the background, that is some kind of unique gameplay style symbolization right there. So that's pretty cool.
The tree here, you can actually see that there's toxic airdrop, and your Falcon now throws Acid Flask for you. Obviously, this consumes your a portion of your mana cost for Acid Flask. You can max this out so you can throw even more, and then you can even grant him a chance to gain
so
charges
good,
when
actually.
you use Acid Flask. So finally, guys, an Acid Flask buff, and your Falcon has the chance to use it.
That actually seems pretty good.
Next up, we're going to look at Aerial Assault with McFluffin.
Hey, thanks, Diz. So Aerial Assault is a new movement ability, and one of the really cool things about it is it's not your character moving, it's actually your Falcon moving you. So as you go throughout the world and you use Aerial Assault, it'll actually pick you up and throw you in front of where you were, and it can actually throw you quite a long ways. And at the end of it, it will actually do a feather burst attack, so it'll do
Every class has some kind of movement skill.
damage to enemies that are in front of you at the very end of the flight that you take, thanks to the bird.
And is there any like big things that we can change on the skill to make it have a different interaction?
Absolutely. So I am a huge fan of shadow daggers, and I play that probably more than anything else. And this actually gives us a new way to play a shadow dagger build. So if we go up here and we take Twilight Strike, we actually get access to Umbral Blades, which has the ability to throw out blades at the same time when the feathers are being thrown out. But those can apply shadow daggers. On top of that, Aerial Assault itself has a node that allows additional shadow daggers to be thrown out for even more damage.
I never really played too much of Rogue. I played a lot of Necromancer and then Mage.
So this gives us a way to play another Shadow Dagger build that's now using the Falcon instead of the typical Blade Dancer. And it does a ton of damage, and you can see all the explosions going off here, and you can build Umbral Blades in different ways to make it spinning blades in front of it, and just allows for a ton of customization even in that small little bit of the skill tree.
Nice.
Next up, we're going to do Dive Bomb with Boardman.
Yeah, thanks, Diz. Dive Bomb is the last skill that you get access to as the Falconer, and with it, it does a powerful AoE that does a single hit in a big area, allowing you to do great single target as well as clear out huge hordes of mobs that you can round up.
Bro! It's a bird. That's kind of... Am I the only one who thinks that's kind of funny and sad at the same time because birds are precious? That it just hits the ground really hard and it's a bird?
One of the sweet things that you can get to do with the Falcon is it has great damage effectiveness, and you can also boost its damage by stacking a lot of your primary stat and by using bow attacks.
So how does this skill work? Do you target a location and it slams that location?
Yep, all you have to do is point your mouse where you want it to go, call it down, and it will fly from the sky, doing its huge damage in a big area.
Like most things in the game, by the way.
Do you know what's the lowest you can get the cooldown to?
So the cooldown has a couple of interactions with other skills that actually replenish its cooldown and gives you cooldown recovery every time that you use like traps, for instance, and they explode. You can take off...
he's using this. It's the decoy totem or whatever it's called. I think it's just called decoy, and that probably lowers the cooldown.
4% of the remaining cooldown. So you can actually make it be reused really, really fast.
Wow. And is there any nodes in the skill tree we can take that changes this skill drastically as well?
Obviously.
Oh yes, it has a couple of synergies with other skills. For instance, if you go inside the skill tree, you can make it to you can target over here on the right side the decoy, and when you hit the decoy, you can make the decoy explode instantly when the Falcon blocks.
Yeah. We saw it. Again, I haven't played this. I haven't played the Assassin too much. When I played it, I thought actually it was like the most nichest and weakest class to a degree. Even though I know that's completely untrue at all points of last Epoch, but still, I don't remember finding or seeing anything that just made the decoy explode instantaneously. It should explode after damage taken.
So you actually have decoy. You can throw it out. Decoy will then call in all the enemies to target it, and then you can make it explode as soon as the enemies are close by with the dive bomb.
And next up, we're going to see Explosive Trap by Volkit, because the Falconer actually has individual skills that don't rely on the Falcon as well.
This is actually the first skill you can get by splitting into Falconer tree. So you only need 5 points on the Falconer tree to get this skill. It's like a classic trapper playstyle. You can actually do any of the elements as a damage type with this. So you can do fire, cold, or lightning,
Makes
or even all of those at once. So really cool, like a classic trapper playstyle.
So is that why the traps have different colors?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So I have actually converted this, all of the elements at once. So cold, fire, and lightning, and that's actually the way you can maximize the amount of traps you have at once, pretty much. So basically maximizing the DPS.
Is there any way to make this skill interact with the Falcon?
Yeah, so it can actually give pretty massive amount of buffs on the Falcon itself. So basically, you throw traps, and when they detonate, you get buffs on the Falcon.
It feels a little bit cringe because you know how scripted this conversation is, but you know, hey, it's Maxroll and they do guides and stuff, so it's understandable. And a lot of people watch Zizarin because he does guides and you know helps beginners and does all of that garbage. So it's kind of really understandable that it's that scripted. But for someone who knows stuff, it does sound a lot cringe, a lot.
So are there any big changes you can do in the skill to make the skill behave differently?
Yeah, so you can actually make this skill a bow skill with the.
Yeah, I don't like how this actually sounds though, because again, they're making it sound like all of these skills have like one way to make them be different from what they are by default. No, again, all skills have, you know, 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 depends on how what you're gonna do with other skills, ways to make them work differently. So yeah, I kind of like how they're making it seem that there's only one way to change a skill, which is false.
The blast train node here. So you spec the bow skill here, and then you can also get detonating arrow procs on the skill. So you're gonna be like a fully bow playstyle if you do this.
Wow.
Yeah, so you have like massive range, massive AoE. You have procs going like everywhere. Amazing
Nice.
playstyle, at least in my opinion. Definitely the most fun I've had in
Am I
LoL with
playing
bow
this?
skills.
Wow.
You can also do this without
Wow.
converting it to bow, but I mean, the bow just makes it so good, you know?
Oh wow!
Explosive arrow on crack.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I was gonna start squirrel, but now I'm not 100% sure anymore. Holy. And the Falconer also has utility skills. So next up, we're gonna show up the net ability with Tarek.
Yeah, so Net is going to be a very powerful supporting skill in order to control monsters. It basically immobilizes regular enemies and is going to also reduce the movement speed of rares and bosses. And as you can
Seems-
see, it also makes
Seems slightly useless because that's typically not
your
necessary.
character leap backward whenever you use it.
Are there any different ways we can make this skill completely different?
There is one particular way that is very interesting at the bottom of the tree here. Basically, you're going to convert
Net
the net
trap.
into a trap, and from that trap, it's going to use puncture. Interesting part about it is
Cool.
that you can actually use bow attacks with it. So it's actually like a ranged playstyle.
So are those caltrops that are falling down from the net?
This is also another part of the skill tree. Whenever you use net, is going to throw caltrops where you use the ability, and it's also going to use caltrops where you aimed at.
Huh.
So it's kind of like leaving behind dot on the ground.
So now it's basically a clearing ability. As we've just learned, the Falconer offers loads of different playstyles. You don't have to just be a minion build, and you have loads of exclusive skills that you can't use otherwise, and cool interactions
Yeah.
with other things. Next up, we're going to look at a build from Boardman, and this is something that'll have a max roll guide, and we'll have a separate video for this before launch, so make sure you check that out as well. Boardman, tell us a little bit about the build.
Oh yeah, absolutely, Sis. This build's going to be using a lot of the Falconer abilities. We're going to have Aerial Assault, we're going to have Dive Bomb, we're going to have Smoke Bomb to buff us with our defense, Falcon Strikes, and then we'll be throwing some Trap. Every time that we use Aerial Assault, we'll leap forward, our Falcon will have a nice Feather Storm that he puts out there. We'll have Dive Bomb to come down and absolutely destroy enemies for single target in a short area. And then when you really need, you can have Falcon Strikes go off, which is going to allow us to just have a bunch of attacks on a whole bunch of enemies in a small area. And then whenever you need to buff your Falcon, we can throw out traps. And every time a trap explodes, it's going to give penetration for our Falcon, allowing his damage to scale and get absolutely ridiculous. Due to Dive Bomb having really great damage, a lot of added damage effectiveness and scalers with it,
Okay, the thing that the Falcon puts him up into the air and then it rains down stuff, I can already tell that that can be substituted probably with something better. Okay, there are other things that you can do, passive things that you can put in, for example. So yeah, would not make it like this. But then again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there is an actual like reason or something that makes it work. But I'm kind of putting the sus one on this one.
single target is just as good as clearing, so you can go super fast if you just want to speedrun echoes or if you want to take on bosses.
What's the tank on this build like?
It's very tanky. You even get to leech a portion of the damage that the Falcon is doing, and because it does so much damage, you can pretty much always count on a ton of leech coming in to keep you alive.
So Volka, show us more of the crazy bow build.
Yeah, so we're using Explosive Trap as the main skill here. So proccing tons of detonating arrows and icicles from the Rain of Winter bow. Otherwise, it's a classic bow playstyle, so using shift for movement and smoke bomb and.
I never once honestly tried a bow build at all. Never. I was gonna at some point, but now I need to play the Warlock and then the Necromancer again probably, and then a Lich again because, man, Lich form's kind of OP if you combine it with things like Life Drain or whatever, even a little bit. So it is what it is, boys.
Some of these utility skills like shurikens for tankiness.
For full clarity, the build we're showing here is actually a marksman. This specs into the Falconer tree to gain access to its skill.
Yes, this is how, by the way, you can do it. You get this, so you need to pick one of these three, and every class has three completely unique specializations. So, yeah, you can easily do this without any problem. You can pick talent points from each, but you kind of need to understand that the best stuff is typically a little bit. Something really decent is in the start usually, and there's something really decent around here at the end. And in the middle, it's damage plus some kind of utility, because in the mid game you understand, wait a minute, I need a little bit of utility, otherwise I'm just gonna get clapped pretty easily. And you can essentially what oh wait, I'm gonna do it like this so you understand. So this is what actually happens in this game. You see that? Mastery skill, falconeering. This is a unique skill you only have access to because you pick this. If you pick a marksman, you also have a unique thing that you can only access through that ascendancy, let's just call it. But everything else is kind of, available here. Well, you see this chain and whatnot, but you get the point. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Skills and passive perks.
Overall, really like strong DPS build. It's really squishy though, so you need to be basically just killing enemies before they kill you. Basically no defense. You don't really need any defense with this build, to be honest, because as you can see, the gameplay is just, well, kind of absurd with the AoE and range. Maybe you could, of course, build some tankiness, but that's kind of the thing with marksman. It doesn't really have much options for like huge tankiness. You can get cleansing blow and armor, but yeah, of course HP, but
Okay, now they're just talking about random MacGuffins. So anyway, that was it. That was the Falconer. That was Jezarian. It is what it is, boys, and it's amazing. Anyway, this was Kuzer Sensei. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.